Hey, this is Big Mike, and we're here again. We're going to talk about some brake flush and why it's important to do and the benefits of doing one. First off, talking about brake fluid. Brake fluid is hydroscopic, which means it absorbs water. And everybody knows that water likes to boil, and water boils at about 212 degrees. Brake fluid doesn't boil till it gets into the 300 to 400 degrees. So, over time, brake fluid will absorb water and give you what's called a spongy pedal under hard braking due to the water boiling in the brake fluid and it releasing space and causing air bubbles. So the way we get around that is we have a machine that works under pressure, and what we do is we plug it into the wall. It has an electric motor in it, it creates pressure, and then we hook this hard line up to the brake master cylinder, which is up here, via this hose and this cap. And basically what we do is we pressurize the brake system to do a bleed like you would do back in the day where you would pump the brakes and then release the bleeder. But now the machine takes part of the other person in the car. What it does is it helps you out with having to have one less set of hands on the vehicle because people get busy. And also it cuts down on time because instead of having somebody in there pumping the brakes, the machine does it for you. All right, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to have everything hooked up like we've got it now, and we're going to turn the system on. And we're going to watch it build pressure on the dial. And once we start building pressure, we're going to check for some obvious leaks up front and make sure we're not leaking fluid anywhere out of the cap. Everything looks nice and dry. You can actually see it starting to fill the level of the cap up right here with a darker fluid. And then what we do is we get the car up in the air to where it's easier to reach for us tall folks. So what we'll do, we'll get this out of the way. Let it hang on that hook. We want to come in here and get a shot. This little piece, we pull this plate. This is what's called the bleeder screw. This right here, once we crack this open, will allow the air and the fluid to escape the caliper, make sure that we get all the air out of the system, and also will bleed the old fluid out and let the new fluid in via the pressurized machine that we have down here on the floor. So basically you just use a little 10mm wrench and we'll crack the line loose. And if you, I don't know if you can see, I'll hold this out. It's starting to fill it up. And what we want to look for inside this line will be air bubbles. Any air bubbles that you see coming out of here is what used to be water inside the system that has boiled and turned into a vapor, which turns into an air bubble. So as of right now, we're getting nice clean fluid out of here because it's not dark anymore. We don't see any air bubbles. So this part of the brake line or the brake system on this one side of the vehicle is bled like it's supposed to with no air in the line. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and tighten this back down. Pull this off. Make sure we don't have any external leaks from something being over tightened or not tightened enough. And basically you just go around to all four corners of the vehicle and repeat this process until done. And you don't have to worry about the brakes being spongy or having a weird pedal because the machine does all the work for you. We recommend that you flush your brakes every time that you do a brake job, whether it be pads or rotors, or at least once a year. Especially due to Florida, high humidity. We run into a lot more issues with the absorption of water into the fluid than you would be up north because just due to the humidity that we have down here. It's 100% almost every day. If anybody's got any questions or concerns, give me a holler. I'm Big Mike. I work at George Moore Chevrolet, and you know how to get me.